Welcome to Redbeard Radio. I'm Brian Keith, and if you've been following along, you know that I bought my mother's company at the beginning of 2022, which had all kinds of opportunities as we focus on helping more lenders say yes to good loans. It also had some challenges. Mom had been in business since the 70s, which means we had a huge number of contacts and people we'd worked with, people who had bought our manuals, been to a class, downloaded a lead magnet, gone to the online class, a huge amount of people we've interacted with at some point over the last 40 years. What do you do with that? Well, I have an extreme example. Many of us have a lot of people we've talked to over the years, and we know we're not making as good a use of those contacts as we can. So we have here today Rita Thomas to help us walk through how to cash in on those contacts and how to think about all those people that you already have the information, you've done business with them in the past, and how to approach that in a methodical fashion rather, to go ahead and grow our businesses. Rita, welcome to Redbeard Radio.
Thank you so much, Brian. It's an honor to be here.
Well, I'm so happy to have you here. You said that you listen to the show every time you go for a walk, and I was so honored to hear that.
Thanks. Yeah. I feel like when I'm improving my physical body, I do love the sounds of nature and walking past flowers and trees, and I connect with them. And at the same time, I want to enrich my mind. And so I listen to Redbeard Radio.
Well, I love it. There's people listening to the show today. And by the way, by the time this episode goes live, we might have broken the 20,000 download mark. Yeah, as we're recording, we're like 19,600 or 700 or something. So we probably will be over 20,000 people. That's a lot of folks that have gotten some value out of this show. And folks, if you have liked the show, go ahead, leave a review on iTunes or wherever you listen and tell us the thing you like the most. And it's okay if you say, well, Rita Thomas' show on cashing in on your contacts, that was the one. Because some folks listening to the show, Rita, are going to take some of your suggestions and they're going to make 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 figures as a result of this episode. Some of our episodes are more mindset focused, psychology focused, habits focused. Today's episode is going to leave you with 1 or 2 or 3 very specific actions, folks, to go find those cash in your contacts. So get your pens ready. Rita, let's go. Talk to us about what you found works great for people cashing in on their contacts.
Well, I'll tell you what, as a business owner myself, and talking to a lot of other business owners as we've all been building our companies and finding our way in the marketing world, the big buzz phrase for many years now has been your list, your email list, your audience, your ideal client. How big is your list? Especially when you want to be on a show or a podcast or something, people are all, how big is your list? And so, therefore, a lot of business owners, especially new business owners, feel like I have to build my list. I have to have a big list. I have to find a lot of people to give that big number of how many email addresses I have. Mm-hmm. And so it starts to equate a big list equals a lot of money for my business. And that's not necessarily true, because if you get yourself into a frenetic pace of, I need more lists, I need more emails, I got to meet more people, get more emails. And that in itself, if you just deposit them somewhere, even especially if you just leave the business cards on your desk in a pile, they're absolutely not going to do you any good. Mm-hmm. But even if you put them in your database, and then you turn away from them and you go get more leads, and you put them in your database, and then you go get more leads, you're not creating wealth and you're not solving anyone's problems if you just put those people in your list and your focus is on more leads all the time.
What should we focus on instead of focusing on that single number?
I'll tell you, the best, most important thing that you can do with those leads is engage with them. So when you engage with them, think about it. These people have said to you, after either meeting you or seeing your website, learning something about what you do and what you offer, they have said to you, I'm interested. I might like to learn more about your company. I'm at least interested. And they go all the way from, I'm curious, to, I need what you have and I want to buy it. And so they give you their information. Your biggest responsibility to yourself and to them is to actually engage with them. And when we say, that's a buzzword, marketing
Mm-hmm.
people say it all the time, and a lot of business people go, what does that mean? So engaging with your list means providing them the information that they need to understand how you can solve their most immediate pressing problem. You know that you created your company to solve a problem, to help a very specific group of people that are facing an issue, and you know how to solve it. And they're out there looking for you. In fact, we've already established some of them have given you their information. So your responsibility is to tell them how you can solve their problem. Tell them the products and services that you offer and how their life will change when they take advantage of your offer.
Here's a roadblock, Rita. Not everyone I talk to knows what their problem actually is. I
Mm,
have things where clients come to me or prospects and they say, oh, here's my revenue. I want to go grow to this. I want to go for like 1 million to 2 million. I say, great. How many hours are you working a week right now? They say, too many. And I say, well, okay, but how many? And they say, 60. And I say, okay, so would you rather go from 60 hours a week and 1 million to 60 hours a week and 2 million? What if it took 80 hours a week to get to 2 million? Or would you rather have 30 hours a week but be making 1 million still? Which of these is better?
right.
And a lot of them go, and we have to talk about it because
Yeah.
they don't know necessarily at the beginning what their problem is. And so if I just say, well, we're going to go fix it. So I think about the Meet Brian campaign, which I love the phrase Meet Brian. I took it from Greg Jenkins of Monkey Pod Marketing with his Meet Greg campaign, where when somebody signs up for anything, if they're new to his audience, they get this, I don't know, a few weeks long campaign and keep that says, hey, here's who I am, here's what I believe in, and introduces a bunch of different touch points, let's say. So you can interact with Greg, the brand, with Monkey Pod, the brand, and you can sort of try to figure out of the dozen problems Greg could help you solve, what is your actual problem here? And I try in my Meet Brian campaign to do something similar where if you sign up for anything, like you'll go get my book on Plus This at plusthisbook.com, you'll get the book, but you'll also get the stories. And I tell stories for, I think it's 4 weeks, 2 emails a week, something like that. And I talk about mountain climbing, and I talk about shooting guns, and I talk about just all kinds of adventures that I've been on. And I try to be really entertaining, right, to get people to click into open. So they're telling their email service provider, hey, we love these emails from Redbeard. But I also talk about systems and about planning ahead and about what my core values are. And I try to open all these places. So if you do get on the phone with me, and really, even when you book a call with me, you start getting these emails, right? So you already know something about who I am, and you have these touch points. So we can talk about, Rita, what are your problems? What is your biggest problem? I'm curious for you, Rita, when people come to you, they have a million different problems, and maybe they don't know what their true problem is. What have you found works best for engaging with people to get them to really understand or go to acknowledge to you what their true problem is?
Man, that is a very, very good question, because generally when they speak what they think their problem is, like the first thing they'll say is, I need more leads. And
Yep.
so we start talking about it, because I say to them, okay, do you want 100 more leads a week, 1,000 more leads a week? Like, you can buy leads. Do you want leads that are just warm bodies, just people living out there in the world somewhere? When they say, well, no, of course not, because that would create more work for them talking to people who don't even want to buy their product.
Yeah.
So then I say, oh, so you want qualified leads, or you want leads of people who are interested in something that you offer? Well, yes. Okay. When I say I want more leads, I want leads of people who want my product. And once we distill it a little more, then I learn, of course, that they want leads who are people who want their product, who have the money to buy it, and who are ready to buy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what you want. So once they figure out, they don't just want more leads. They want people in their pipeline who are ready to buy and have the income and understand the value of the item that they're offering
Mm-hmm.
and how it's going to impact their life. because when that lead understands the value of the offer, they will find the money to pay for it if that value is what they're looking for. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. So I do have this, I love the discovery method, and it works almost exactly the same with every client. When I say, oh, you want more leads? How many more can you handle? Right. And then they
Yeah.
go, well, I don't just want hundreds of people calling me. And then you have to distill that down. So,
You're reminding me of a client where they said they wanted more leads, and then it turns out, yes, they wanted more leads, but they actually were at capacity, or maybe even over capacity for their main product line. So they said they wanted more leads, but actually they wanted less leads emotionally, right?
yeah.
And the answer was build new product lines that aren't as expensive to deploy. But if you think you want more leads, but more leads would actually make your life hell, then emotionally you're going to do whatever you can to not get more leads.
Absolutely. I've been in a place in my company. Most of the time that I've had a business, for 12 years, I've been in business. And for up until 8 months ago, I had a full-time job.
Hmm.
And so I would say that I need more clients. And yet
Mhm.
my logical mind knew I can't handle more clients. Like, I'm working full time. So in the evenings and weekends, I'm hustling to satisfy the clients I have. So I can't even take on more clients. But I thought if I had more clients, I would make enough money to finally quit my job. So it was a horrible, horrible circular thought
Yeah, it was
process.
a trap. We all put ourselves in these traps where we say, well, if thing X happens, then Y will definitely happen. But it's either we don't actually want Y, or X is too difficult, or whatever. Anyone who has ever failed to be their ideal weight, or failed to be able to lift their ideal amount of weight at the gym, has fallen into this game where we say, well, if I do thing X, then I'll get Y and I want Y, therefore I'm done. And then you say, well, are you willing to do thing X on a regular basis? Well, no. Oh, okay. So you just played a fantasy game in your head to achieve your result while doing no actual thing you're willing to do. It's nice to know about yourself. Let's get into some specifics, Rita, for somebody who has a list and they're like, okay, fair enough. I know I need more qualified leads, but I know that my list is not well optimized. We have two different ways we could go in our conversation here. One is, how do we engage people that we've not talked to or not given any value to in a while? And the second one is, how do we segment people in our list, given that our offers may have changed since they first joined our list?
Wow.
Which of those two sounds more fun for the next 5 minutes?
Oh, they're both almost a favorite. Let's talk about how you can re-engage people that you haven't talked to in a while.
That applies to myself with my business I bought that had 40 years of leads.
Very good. Excellent. So this business has, so 40 years of leads.
Well, and they're
And
all with somebody else, right? They're all with Linda Heath CPA, who still works at the company. It's just not her company anymore. So it's very, and now my last name is also Keith. That's handy. Thanks, Mom. But a lot of these people, they did business when it was Linda and maybe a couple people on staff. Whereas now I'm growing the company, I'm scaling the company. So they're dealing with other people in the firm. And it's just, and we're no longer a Linda Heath CPA. We're a Lenders Online Training LLC, which that brand name was used, Lenders Online Training. But so the name isn't quite the same. The people aren't quite the same. The person who delivered their training 15 years ago was Linda Heath CPA, whereas now we might be having someone else delivering the training.
yeah, so I think the best thing that you could do is do almost like a company does a ribbon cutting for
Mm-hmm.
a grand reopening. And or you could have, it's not truly a retirement for her, but some celebration for her that she's taken her life in a different direction, and therefore there's a new ownership of the company, and let's introduce the new team, but make it a big celebration and like a ribbon cutting. And you have to have a really catchy subject line. And I
Mm-hmm.
would definitely use the preview text, because you're almost surely going to end up in the spam of most of the people that you have not engaged with. And see, this brings up a whole subject of your online reputation.
Mm-hmm.
It's entirely possible that a large portion of that list, if they haven't been opening your recent emails, and I say recent being the last 3 to 6 months, they are almost not just neutral, useless to you, but a detriment to your company.
Yeah, I just finished taking the email smart training from Adrian Savage and Evan Samarin. Have you heard of
That's
that
what
one?
I was referring to. I'm in that too.
Oh,
So
yeah. So the short answer from that training, folks, is if they've not engaged in 3 months, delete them. Like just opt them out. Don't email them ever again because it's going to hurt you if you email them. So
it's
we have a
absolutely
case.
right.
We have thousands and thousands of contacts. What we're doing, because and also our clientele are in the banking industry, where even people who are current clients who have told their IT departments, please whitelist this domain, still don't get our emails sometimes because security banks, thankfully, have very high security on their emails that can come in. So we already have an email deliverability problem with current clients.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing is we are using a lot of LinkedIn and then also phone calls because
Fantastic.
we're saying, okay, we have all these people, we know people are interested. Like I was just this last week, I was saying, well, who has opted in for our video series on K1s and pass-throughs, which if you're a banker, that's exciting stuff. And I said, I found those people and then, okay, I went and made a list on LinkedIn for the team to reach out to and say, okay, this person, they downloaded our thing, 4 months ago. Let's go check in, see how did they like it? And let's ask them on LinkedIn, not an email, because maybe they haven't opened any emails for 2 months. So we'll just ping them on LinkedIn and see what they say.
Very smart. Very smart. And so reaching out to them in a different fashion is extremely smart. And when I tell my clients to really just part ways with people that have not engaged with you, they get into a panic. But I will tell you, if you are marketing effectively in your social media and all your other ways of marketing, all the touches that we tell you need 8, well, no, not even 8 anymore, good heavens, 17 to 20 touches per client before they open their wallet and spend money with you. All those touches are going to attract the right people again. So some of those that you let go will be attracted back to you again soon if you're doing your marketing effectively. And they will not be a harm to you or a liability to you, and they won't ruin your online reputation by emailing them when they're not engaged.
And here's what we can say. If it's not worth the energy to put a bunch of leads that have not opened anything from you in the last 3 months, to put them into a Facebook audience or a LinkedIn audience and go and spend $100 a month sending ads to them to go re-engage with you, if it's not even worth that much hassle, then why are you filling their inbox up anyways?
Yeah.
That felt reasonable a decade ago. But now
Yes.
it's like junk mail. I get so much junk mail in my postal mailbox, right? It's just, wow, this is mostly trash. Oh, and there's one important thing.
And they're doing you harm in ways you don't even know, because if they leave you in spam, that hurts you.
Yep.
If they put you in spam, that hurts you. If they don't open your email and just let it sit there, that hurts you. You're far worse off emailing someone who's not engaged than you are not having them on your list at all.
That was one of the things in the email smart training that you and I both just finished up. The first class of email smart certified consultants, whatever they're calling us.
Woohoo!
Just that, I know, I still need to take the test. I'll do it, tomorrow, whenever. But there's so much is changing so fast that just because I have some successes under my belt, just because I have in the past run successful launches, run successful 6-figure launches, rehabilitated lists, whatever, none of that matters. Successes that are more than a year or two old don't matter. They're actually hurting you because you think you know what you're talking about. But the email service providers are changing rapidly, way more rapidly than I was aware of.
Yes.
I was telling Adrian there that I said, when I started that training, I thought I probably know half what I need to know. I can know more, but I'm doing fine. And at the end of the training, I thought, oh my goodness, I probably knew 10% of what I needed to know.
Mm-hmm.
And that was painful for my ego, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know how people say, I knew enough to be dangerous. I don't I thought I knew enough to be dangerous. I didn't even know that much.
Yeah, it's
When I,
it's a pretty interesting class. Well, Rita, for folks who want to get more help with looking into their list or who want to hear in more detail about why it is that you and I are low level panicked about email marketing, given how much we know, or how to find cash in their contacts, what is a good way to get in touch with you?
I have a group on LinkedIn, and that group is, beg your pardon, that's a page, and it is called Automated Business Solutions. And so I post tips, and we have a community of people that engage with each other, and we have discussions. And so you can follow that on LinkedIn. And then I have a website as well, and it's called Rita Thomas Enterprises.com. And then I also have, for you Facebook people, I have a Facebook group, and it is called Client Journey Expert.
Wonderful. Rita, thanks for sharing your wisdom and thanks for being on Redbeard Radio.
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.